spiritual thing. Like the creative process is spiritual. You know what I mean?
100%.
So and then I ended up going to a church where I knew a lot of people who just so happened to be musicians. So it was like I was working with these people. It's kind of just like a new find your tribe moment. You know what I mean? And they were just kind of just like, "Yo, you should come to the church." So I ended up going to their church. And I was just getting deeper and deeper in my faith. You know what I mean? Me and my lady, we were, tapping in. She's really, she's really into that too. You know what I mean? She's really tapped in, and she played a good part of, bringing me back to that as well. But I remember I was sitting at a hookah spot, and I had the thought, like I didn't even say it out loud. I just had the thought to, I was like, man, I think I'm ready to get baptized because I've never been baptized. Right. And I was like, oh, okay. Then the thought just passed. I was like, all right. And I went on Instagram like we always do. We get to scrolling. And the first thing I saw was my boy Dreams. The A&R, shout out to my boy Dreams. Super, super dope. The very first post on there was him getting baptized. Like a whole video that he had put up of his baptism. Right? And I was like, oh wow. Like, and I'm a call you person, right? So that's not something I wanted to text. Like, hey, bro, I was sitting there thinking, and that was a big deal. I wanted to congratulate him. So I called him. Was like, yo, bro, I was sitting here thinking to myself, I want to get baptized. And then the very first thing I saw was you doing that, and so congratulations. I think that's dope. That's inspiring. So even when I did it, and then I put the post up, I shouted him out on that. If it means something, but I mean, we talked about that, and I thought it was dope to get it done because I remember I kind of delayed for a little bit, and then I think I like finished like the process at like 1 something in the morning one night. I was just laying there. I was like, let me just get serious about like signing up and just doing it. And it just so happened that the first available date was on Good Friday.
Wow.
So I was
That's
like,
crazy.
When Jesus died on the cross. So I was like,
Jay, today, as soon as we finish this section of the conversation, we'll play the music.
Yeah, we pretty much done. We can talk about this time.
Yeah.
But no,
we gonna wrap up Jesus.
We gonna wrap up.
We'll wrap up Jesus.
Dying for our sins and all that, so we can.
I think we're definitely going to get into that, but I want to say this because I think it's important. Again, congratulations to you. I think too, there's a lot of people who don't know how many of the people that write their favorite songs and who are like producing their favorite songs are Christians and do go to church.
Let's not even stop there. How many musicians like y'all?
Yes.
Like keys players, bassists, drummers, like that. No.
Yeah.
The industry standard, right? The industry standard of musicians are church bred.
Yes. Adam Blackstone.
Period.
Adam Blackstone has been doing the Super Bowl for like the last I don't know how many years.
They are homegrown church. 1,500.
The music director.
Right.
1,500 rents. Yeah.
Bro, all of their entire it's church. You know what I mean? Like all the church. I can go on and on. I'm not naming all y'all. Terrence Martin.
There's a lot.
A lot of y'all.
My boy Lionel, he's here.
Come on.
Lionel Forrester Jr., shout out to
Yeah.
him. One of the greatest drummers of all time.
Yeah.
Did Jimmy Fallon, Tierra Whack. I think he's working with Lauryn Hill now. Trey Treyway and Trey Lambert and also Travion, Trey Chandler. Shout out to those cats. Eric Wortham, his father was a pastor. My brother Eric.
But you know why that is? Can we go deep?
Real quick, because we got to play these people's music. We don't want to. But yeah.
Or we can save it for later.
No. Let's dive right now. We're gonna do it.
Music is spiritual.
Yeah.
And they lied to us.
Yeah.
They told us that the devil was in charge of music, and that's not true.
That we're gonna save for the actual.
You know, I asked you. You heard me ask you.
All right. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, so we're gonna let's pull up this music. We are going to mute the mics for a second, and then we'll do the review after we take a listen. So hang tight.
Like respond in real time.
You wanna respond in real time? I think we can.
It's your call.
Without the mics feeding back. That is my, we're still working on the kinks right now because I haven't routed the system yet through the this thing. The other
I'm
stream
right your
thing.
way. If we mute the sound,
Oh, you know what?
they won't hear the AC come back on.
No. But if we, yo, you're a nut. Let's, this guy is a nut. Let me see if I got it. Hopefully send it to the right one. What's my guy's name? Jay Today Baby. What's your email? Can you put it in the chat? Well, I didn't.
Jay Today Baby.
I gotta set that up, Bington, because I don't see your email. Let me check my spam real quick. Okay, I got it.
Getting us with the spammers, man.
Okay, here we go. Wind blows. Wind blows. Let's see. We're gonna just monitor it just a little bit. Wind blows. Here we go.
Wind blows.
It's okay. We're just listening. Make sure y'all like and share the live. Okay.
The walk-on celebration was crazy.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
out to
It's
Big
released.
Visionary.
Okay. Congratulations on the release. So Q, Mr. Industry Professional. This is the industry standard.
Oh, you're not gonna go
podcast.
first?
Do you want me to? Should I review first? Should I go? Okay. I'll start with the likes.
The way the wind blows you to me.
I don't want the wind blowing you to me. You're heavy.
I'm just repeating the song.
Big.
Those are the lyrics of the song.
I like your vocal texture. I also like I like the lyrics. I like the arrangement of the song itself. Like musically, I think it's very solid. But what's up, Josh? Yo, shout out to Joshua Butler in the building, man. JBG, Mr. JBG Golf. Yo, dude right here is an incredible human. Bro, appreciate you, man. I got some of his merch. I was gonna wear it, but I'm growing my hair out now, so I can't wear that. Okay, so back to the review though. Yeah, so I love the texture of your voice. I like the arrangement itself. What I think could be improved on would be the mix. So this is very technical. So like for me, I think the mix itself could be wider. I think too that the vocal could be a lot more polished. And there's a whole bunch of technical notes that I could give you. So what I would say is, and I don't know who's mixing your music, and no shade to them whatsoever, I would suggest finding a higher caliber mix engineer, because that's just kind of an easier solution than like teaching someone, whoever you're working with. I don't know what your investment is with them, like if it's a brother or if you're mixing it yourself or whatever. But oftentimes it's better, it's easier to go to a specialist, somebody who's already really incredible at what they do, and locking it with them to get that professional polished sound versus trying to do it yourself, or like trying to elevate somebody that you're working with now. I think you have a very good voice, and I would also suggest self-recorded. Okay, got you. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, for the product that you have, it's really good. Did you play any of the instruments yourself? Like, are you an instrumentalist, or are these musician friends that you know and like homies or whatever? Because that also makes a difference. The musicianship is really good.
Yeah.
Like the musicianship is very solid. I mean, if you're in the DMV, then there's a ton of great musicians over there.
She's in the DMV?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Shout out to DMV.
Yeah, shout out to the
That's
DMV.
talented humans down there.
Kill, Mo.
My girl from DMV.
Kill.
Say what?
Kill.
Kill?
Yeah, and mumbo sauce.
Okay.
Which I like. Anyway.
LA, man.
Oh, okay. Found a lot of my inspiration. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, as long as you have...
Who's the inspirations?
She said she finds a lot of her inspiration on YouTube.
Okay.
Found the beat online. Got you.
I was curious to know that. It was like
yeah.
It gave me a feel or something about.
But in terms of overall mixing, I would suggest like for what it is, you did a pretty good job. But I would suggest one really important thing: invest in a good microphone. That's super important on the more things that you have going right for you going into the computer, the easier it is to get things polished in the way that they need to, right? So it's like if you build a car with cheaper materials, what happens is the car is going to break down sooner. Versus if you build it right the first time, then you don't have as many problems along the way, right? And yeah, but this is definitely perfect for a live set. Good microphone. Okay, let me give you some suggestions for good microphones. First of all, let me say this: a good microphone is an investment.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of high frequencies in your voice, I would suggest one of the best starter microphones is the Aston Spirit. They run about $400. Aston Spirit, they make a really, really good microphone. Gonna give you very crispy vocals and not because what's happening with your vocal right now is from this song, it sounds like it's kind of in there's a lot of mid, so it makes you sound more like you're in a can. It doesn't give you that wide range of audio spectrum that you would need to get a really, really good professional sound. But yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. I think it's a really solid song, and I'm gonna pass it to Cube.
I'm gonna echo what you said about the music, the musicianship, the production for sure was definitely on point. So whoever you're working with, they were musicians. I don't know if that was like played live or they played live into the track and gave you the track. It was dope. I like that. It sounded good, right? It gave me that older-ish. I don't want to call your music old at all because there's still a place for that sound and that vibe. But I will speak to this though. Your voice is good, right? You sound good. The thing I was listening for was the marriage between songwriting, content, and how it was delivered with the mixture of the production. Because the production, kind of grabs you immediately, right? And I would only challenge, right? Because you do sound good and you do have a captivating tone in your voice, I would challenge the writing a little bit, right? Because there's oftentimes a way to be direct and grabbing at the same time, but you don't want to be too direct to where there's not a thing that's grabbing or hooking you, right? So I like the way the wind blows you to me. Is direct enough, right? But I would challenge you to say if you're going to be that direct in your lyric, especially in the hook portion, then you might want to try one of two things: either different melody structures, right, or even different background layers, right? Because there are obviously songs that work that are that direct, even in that sound, right? Like if you're going like a Jill Scottish, you know what I mean? Let's take a long walk around the park after dark, right? Like that's generic enough, but the way that it's sung, the way that it grabs you, right? Like you would experiment with those melody things and like even possibly getting a little more clever with what you're trying to convey, because a lot of times things are either cleverly done, right? Which is like, cleverly overstated, so you're captivated by the way the lyrics are twisted, right? The melody, right? To where you're just so encapsulated by the melody that it doesn't matter what they're saying, right? Or visual, right? So obviously the hook of Long Walk would be, you can see us, let's take a long walk around the park after dark, so specific and visual that you're captivated by the visuality of the moment, right?
Right.
But you gotta make sure that to grab the audience, you're walking one or the combination of things all the way down, right? So if I like the way, the wind blows you to me is what you're trying to convey, challenge yourself to say, is that strong enough visually? And then if it's metaphorical, then what does it actually mean? What am I trying to convey? Because maybe you got to get a little more clever.
Sure.
Maybe you got to, give us a little bit more on the melody part.
Right.
What you about to say?
Well, a couple things. Zay Stoney, the road is definitely okay. Jay today, baby. I'm just gonna call you Jay because it's a long name. So, so Carvin Hagens is one of my mentors, and he wrote a lot and produced a lot for Jill as well. He was the brain behind the first 3 albums of Musiq Soulchild. Him and Keith Pelzer. So yeah, those are my mentors, my OGs, if you will. And so, because I lived in Philly for a long time, so a couple of the things that I would also like to suggest to you, based on that kind of moving towards that direction. One is pick your spots for your vibrato, right? So what you're singing, like the technique that you use for live performance is not always the best technique that you for studio.
Yeah.
And that's why getting in the studio with a good vocal producer or with a producer who's been doing this a long time so important.
So key.
Because they're gonna get you to deliver
Yeah.
in a way that you wouldn't on your own deliver the song. And also,
I will say this real quick, not to cut you off. For singers specific,
and he did cut me off.
I did, but not to cut you off on purpose, but I did. Regardless, can't walk that one back. Get in the habit of having someone else in your session that can, help you with your, your stylings or, what I mean. Like, don't be so interdependent on your own ears, your own,
Ooh,
you know what I mean, listening to
that
your
is
own
so
voice
important.
when you're singing, because a lot of times, and what you said was very important, how it translates live. If I heard this song live, I would have no notes, right?
Yeah.
It's just because the instrumentation of it alone played live, I can already hear it, right?
Yeah.
Like, your tone would be good enough to carry the song. It kind of wouldn't matter, you know what I mean?
Right.
But don't be afraid to have somebody there to capture imperfections, right? Like, the one thing I did love that you did, which I wish, like, there are elements that you could kind of think of to add to the song, is like those ear candy moments, right?
Yeah.
So even your backgrounds, right? Don't be afraid to layer, like, just stress those things out, make them beautiful, instead of just doing, additives. And it doesn't have to be throughout the song, right? Just maybe certain words or certain, in the second or B half of the hook, where you just, go harmonies for harmonies, right? Just so, because somebody may capture that thing, somebody may just grab onto that and decide to, hold on to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you
Yeah. No, I think one of the other things I wanted to say too is be sure to diversify your melody, because what happens is your song is very here, melodically, right? And because your words are also spaced out, so the song for me wasn't boring, but you got to remember we live in the age of TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts, and so what happens is people will very quickly write off the song because it's not. Hey man, don't be breaking my stuff. This is crazy. Oh yeah, you're very, very, very welcome. We are here to help you. But yeah, so diversify your melody and when you're not strong. Yeah. And also another thing that I think you could do too is building on your backgrounds. Because what's happening is you have like what you have essentially right now is ad libs, because you don't have any real backgrounds.
Right.
Stack those backgrounds, make them thick, and like thick backgrounds.
And then adjust them. No, for real, like,
adjust them.
8 notes,
Yeah.
2 each, and then decide, like, oh, that feels good, that don't. You know what I mean? Let's pull this back, turn that one down, turn this one up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, don't be afraid to add, like, and there's beauty in that too, man. I've 100% spent 10 hours in the studio working on one song to perfect it, like, top to bottom. It didn't take that long to write it, but it's just like, we're in there vocal producing, sing it this way, and like, you may think you messed up on a take, especially for women, because the way y'all voices feel, like, there's already, there's a feminine element, there's sultriness, there's, you know what I mean, there's there's, you know what I mean, like, so there's something that exists there that you can't get from most men's voice, right?
Right, for sure.
Men nowadays are either really high or there's just like monotone or deep, like, so there's a life in there that exists in your voice that men kind of just don't have. So, like, sometimes you may think that you didn't nail a take, and that's what I'm saying again about the importance, like you said, about having a vocal producer or somebody else there to be like, nah, that was dope. Like, that you thought you fucked that take up, but you didn't. That's what it needs to be. Like, I can't tell you how often I do that in the studio with artists, because they're already in their head about perfecting it.
Right.
And then sometimes you try so hard to perfect it that you miss things.
Or you get it right the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, I messed it up. I need to redo it. And meanwhile, the producer and everybody else in the room is like, yo, that was the one. And I think I can do it better. And then you're going to end up wasting everybody's time.
And And you gotta understand, like, the thought of perfecting, right, just brings you to an end. It just brings you to a destination. So technically, when you're thinking about perfecting something going in, you're only thinking about just getting it done. You're not thinking about the creative process, right? And I'm not saying you personally. I don't know what your your process was, but I mean, it's just something to think about, right? Like, just let the process happen. Let it happen as long as it needs to until it feels the best that it can feel. You know?
Absolutely.
Until you want to listen to it 100 times in a row.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that. That was great. Okay, we're about to hit an hour. I think Stoney had asked for us to listen to Ever Young. I can't.
Ever Young.
Yeah. Well, and essentially she wants you to listen to Ever Young.
You want me to listen? All right.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to know that Cube gave all of that incredible advice while leaning on the everlasting arms.
This is leaning on the everlasting knee.
Yes.
I got tapped on the shoulder, and I think he had some input. It was like, hey, I have something to do.
Yeah, I got something to say. He come in here and just start messing my stuff up, man.
Your stuff's messing with me.
Yeah, well,
I'm just sitting here.
Don't blame the equipment.
Okay.
1 second. You can answer some of the questions in the chat.
Okay, my eyes ain't that good, so I might have to.
Your eyes are great.
No, they're not. Who lied to you?
Lean forward. Lean forward, man.
Or should I just switch seats?
Do you want to be in the driver's seat?
That's the only way I'm gonna see that.
Okay. Well, okay. So.
Or if you're back, you can just read them.
I'm notorious for wanting to redo takes. That's from Stoney. Of course, yeah, she's terrible about that. Those sessions are whack. It's more about the feeling of the energy. Got it.
You said what session?
Don's third suggestion: diversify the melodies and add backgrounds. Yes, definitely diversify and add backgrounds. I love how good this camera is. This is amazing. Right. This is what I should do before we start.
Number on that.
Well, not quite. You're definitely blind because it's definitely blurry.
I told you.
All right, and let's just. And it should focus. Hocus focus. All right, we are back. Jay, today, baby, make sure that you follow the Industry Standard Podcast on Instagram. I know Cube is taking a social media break. Do you want to give the people your?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's Instagram. It's at Cuban KSOZE. Cuban K Soze. That was my artist name at one point, but y'all can just call me Cube when you hit me if you hit me. But it's C-U-B-A-N.
Can you spell it? Yeah, thank you.
Like a person from Cuba. The letter K, S-O-Z-E. Do not forget to put the K in there, because if you just end up putting Cuban Soze, you will be reaching out to No ID. Now, if y'all trying to get to No ID, then now you also have his.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a. I don't even know how that happened. It's just a funny coincidence, and I actually had the honor of talking to him a few times. I got to work with him a couple times. So.
Oh, Yogi, yeah, Yogi's my brother. Shout out to Yogi, man. I'm so glad that he sent you over. We are working industry professionals. To give you some background about myself before we play Ever Young, I am Don Terrell. I'm the host of the Industry Standard Podcast. This is my brainchild. I've been working in the music industry a long time, enough to have gray hairs. Harder to see on this camera, thank God, but they're there. I started out in Philly. Yeah, you can follow me at Don_Terrell on Instagram. I've worked on some pretty cool projects. I've worked at pretty much all of the major studios here in LA. Atlantic Rock Nation, the Mega with L.A. Reid and Usher's camp.
That's an easier question to answer instead of like. I got all the studios.
I do have some major credits, and currently working on this podcast. We're about to release 3 albums with Stoney. Hey. She's in the building helping to be a
3 albums?
Moderate 3 in 3 months. She let me just make her a moderator and fix the camera at the same time. Yeah, so she is a moderator for the chat. But yeah, we're gonna release 3 albums in 3 months, which is insane. And between me, you, and the birds. We're about to we're crossing a crossroads right now.
The bird.
Of getting distribution through one of the elite distributors. They are invite only. But we have a direct line in, so I'm very proud of that. Very proud of Stony and all that she has accomplished. And yes, please follow at Stony Music on Instagram. It's STONII Music. Yeah, double I. Yeah, double I.
And whenever you actually run into Stony in person, she will never miss an opportunity to introduce herself to you as Stony.
That's right.
I'm not letting that die.
She will never. She is always going to say,
but that's humility.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful quality.
Yeah.
Don't be too humble that you forget that you the shit. But
and don't be too arrogant that you forget you need to be humble. Come on.
Don't be too arrogant to think you are where you not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because we have those too.
Be right in the middle.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play every Zay Stoney in the building. That is Stoney's brother, the one and only Zay Stoney. He has a shout out to him in Virginia. Him and his father have a what is going on with my camera? Yeah. They have a wellness center, and he mentors the youth. Just great people in this live. So super excited for all of you.
The last girl's name?
Oh, J Today Baby. J Today Baby.
J Today Baby.
J Baby.
Love the song. Right? Love the song. Good job.
Yes. Let's see. Let's go to the Sad Girl album and play Ever Young. Sad Girl album.
All right.
Hopefully you guys can hear it. Not it feeding. It's a good song. I think so. Anyway, I'm biased though. Let's say you want to turn it down.
Fading out, running on adrenaline. Even if we run.
Ah, shoot, my bad.
Turn it back.
Teary eyes, my feet, in my arms I fall asleep. Tired swing on the hanging tree.
Now, it's your turn, Mr.
Every Young is dope. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I guess I got to do that.
Yeah, you got it. You know what I'm saying? You got to review it.
The music person thing. No, the song itself I love, right? I'm trying to figure out how to like line this up, right?
Okay.
So, I have nothing bad to say about the song at all, right? Because I could tell that it was done with intention.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? What I mean by that is, let's go down all the reasons why I believe that. Ever Young, right, is like immediately I got the idea once I got to the Were We Ever Young, right? And the, music, 505 brain in me is like, oh, well, that could be a double entendre sort of situation. Like, were we ever young? Like, were we ever young? Or were we, like, ever young, like forever young beings? Can we get back to being young?
Only a rapper would
Yeah,
know.
all the ribbons and the bows and doubles and triples entendres that can either exist or, like, are good enough to where it may not be the thing. Like, how people think of all the meanings that Kendrick has in some of his raps, and it's like, yeah, he didn't mean that at all. He literally just meant, nigga, I'm going to this store. But it's so good, right? And the delivery is so, and it's so much intention because music is open for interpretation anyway.
For sure.
So knowing your audience, you can look at it because we have those conversations in the studio. It's like somebody's gonna hear this and hear it this way, right? So you're already ahead of it. So I love that. The next thing that I noticed that I was kind of waiting for and it happened was decline.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're dealing with something that is a heavy topic, the lyrics are heavy, it's definitely heartstrings, right? You need that to elevate the emotion, right? And not keep people here. Just take them on a ride, right? So if you're already grabbing, and pulling at heartstrings, then, we elevating the emotion is always a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Taking them on the ride with you, and not just keeping it there to where it's just serious and that's it, but it's serious with intent, right? Serious with feeling, serious with passion. So you're drawn in. You know what I mean? So then you're literally, seeing. And that's another thing too, visual. Right?
Visually. I'll take his hand and hold him as
exactly.
It's
That's a hard thing to run from.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because you got to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I love it, and just enough ear candy, right? Like we talked about for the first part, was like, maybe add the backgrounds to, the beat half of the hook, right? There's a lot that was in there, which I think was dope too, and it was just enough because, the vocal was soft and airy, so nothing was overpowered, right? Everything was perfect, everything meshed well and felt how it was supposed to feel, right? There was nothing abrupt about it.
Yeah.
Right?
We worked really hard at that song.
I can tell.
To give some backstory and some context, Stoney wrote that song long before she had met me. I think she wrote it by herself in her home studio, and then we re-recorded it here. But it was a song that somebody had told her wasn't good enough, and then I'm all about an underdog story because I've always been an underdog. One day I'll sit on the podcast and tell my actual story of how I broke into the music industry. Shameless plug, I have a book on called Behind the Curtain, how to improving guide to breaking into the music industry. That is on Amazon. So sorry, cha-ching, oh God. But when she presented me this song and I listened to it, she was like, yeah, they told me I need to go to writing school and they said it wasn't good enough. I'm like, oh, they're insane. People are really dumb.
But you gotta know that is going to happen.
Yes.
Look, okay. Piece of advice. Don't throw away those songs that mean the most to you.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, they end up being your best song to you.
Yeah.
And they can reach people because it's honest, right? You can always
That's it.
and
That's
you can all that the story alone, like just having the privilege of being able to tell the story, right?
Right.
Because when you said that, I'm like, that makes sense because you can feel that, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where you can tell that there was an artist that had a backstory for that type of song because you kind of have to,
Yeah.
right? Like that's like you can feel it. It like there's a point in there where it almost sounded like she was literally in the studio crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Because you need that for that.
That's it though, man. Like the thing that it's spiritual and it's connectivity.
Yes.
Right. So it's the fact that like she wrote this song from a place of truth.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever that truth was, whatever it was based on.
Yeah.
I think it was actually like the concept was like, what if I had to write a song for the Hunger Games? Right. But it's a place of truth because
I feel you.
you're so high.
I know.
But the connection is like everybody knows what it's like to see someone else suffering
Yeah.
and how much that can hurt you and remind you of like broken innocence.
Yeah.
Because like if you grow up wealthy, you might grow up in a place where it's like you don't have innocence because you have to be responsible for so much money and like maybe taking over the family business. But then it's like if you are a person who grows up in the ghetto or the hood, you have a broken innocence because possibly you have a broken home or like you see a lot of violence or like you don't have so this song bridges so many gaps that I was like, this song is special and we have to record this.
Well, you gotta think about it too. It's human nature for things to be. It's easier to assess things outwardly than inwardly.
Go ahead and lean into the mic so they can hear you.
Easier to assess things, right? Like outwardly
Right.
than inward, right?
Absolutely.
Like most people, the majority of people can barely, and not because they're incapable, but most people can barely pinpoint and assess what's going on with them internally.
Right.
The larger majority of those people have a problem facing it.
Right.
Even more of them will probably ever think to do anything about it.
Right.
Right?
Facts.
So seeing someone else's experience and having a reaction to it that you can clearly pinpoint and then having, an objective or subjective, right, opinion about is just commonality. It's human
Right.
nature. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It's the quickest thing to do, right? Now, then there's other things that come with that, like compassion, and,
Yeah,
and
for
empathy about whether or not you give a fuck about what you're seeing. But,
Right.
but noticing and being able to,
Yeah.
convey the ideas.
So that song is actually that's going to be on the first album, which we are releasing. We also have a tentative meeting with a great venue in Los Angeles who is going to be hosting our 3 albums. So we're going to do a 3-album series at this venue, live music. This is going to be great. So Stoney says thank you for reviewing. That means a lot. Thank you, Stoney, for putting that beautiful art into the world.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think we're about to hit 1 hour and 15 minutes. So this is going to conclude our stream. Please follow us. Follow the Industry Standard Podcast on Instagram. You can also follow me personally at Don_Terrell and
At
Cuban K
Soze.
Soze.
Yeah.
Also follow Stoney. It's Stoney Music. It's Stoney with 2 eyes. Double I. All right. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. Tell somebody else about this. Please like this video. We'll see you on the next one.
Share. Tell the world.
Comment, all that good stuff. Peace.